In this video, we're going to talk about the extension of unemployment from the Trump executive order on August the 8th. Which states have received the additional unemployment, which states are applying for the unemployment, and what makes absolutely no sense about the additional unemployment. But before we do, if this is your first time at our channel or you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button at the bottom. My name is Travis Sickle, Certified Financial Planner, helping you reach your financial goals. Okay, so on August the 8th, President Trump signed a series of executive orders for the pandemic. And one of those was for unemployment. Now, it originally was for an additional $400 from the federal government, where $100 was going to be matched by the state. So in reality, it was going to be an additional $300, but the state had to come up with that additional $100 in order to get the additional $300. So a lot of states came out and said they didn't have the money to support the additional $100, so they weren't going to take the money. So they modified the program to allow the states to count their current unemployment as the $100 match. It just had to be a minimum of $100. So if someone was on unemployment collecting less than $100, then that individual would not qualify for the additional $300. And all this is a result of negotiations for the next stimulus package breaking down. So the unemployment extension of the $600 ran out on July 31st, and this would go retroactive to August the 1st. And initially there were two states that said they did not want the money. The first one was South Dakota, with Governor Nome saying that my administration is grateful for the additional flexibility that this effort would have provided, but South Dakota is in the fortunate position of not needing to accept it. South Dakota is the only state in the nation that didn't have extended benefit kick in because our insured unemployment rate has been the lowest in the nation. And Governor Nome also said that 80% of their jobs had been restored, they had never shut down, so they didn't need the additional assistance. Well, the question is, what about the other 20%? They're on unemployment. What if they need the extra money to make ends meet? Are they just left out in the cold? And then Governor Cuomo from New York said that you cannot get water out of a stone. This is a fact, and we have $14 billion deficit, and we can't pay for it. Which also really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because how expensive could it possibly be to deliver an additional $300 to anybody? And if you look at FEMA's website, they're also getting assistance to give out the money. So FEMA will provide grants to participating states, territories, and the District of Columbia to administer delivery of lost wage assistance, for which they will receive an additional amount of up to 5% of the total grant award to cover their administrative costs, subject to the cost share. So they apply for the grant, they get the money, they distribute it. Now let's take a look at the map to see what's going on here. So this is a map from the CNBC's website. So they've gone through and aggregated which states have applied, which states are approved, which states plan to apply, no action, and not offering. Now you can see right there, the red is South Dakota. But since this statement from Governor Cuomo of New York, even though here it says they've not taken any action, they've actually applied for it and have been approved as of today. And this was approved just a little while ago. So FEMA approved New York for federal $300 per week unemployment benefit. And that additional $100 can come from a series of unemployment programs. And the list is on the FEMA website, and half of these I haven't even heard of. But to match the $100 to get the $300, that could be a huge difference. And even going back to the map from CNBC, for California, they have already been approved. So this map says that they applied for it, they've already been approved, and that's the home state of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who's also made it clear that she doesn't want to negotiate for the unemployment benefits until the Republicans agree on the state and local funding.
So again, I think that's something we should pass. I don't think the timing is for us to do it right now, because really the most central point of it all, where people's needs are met the most, is the issue of state and local government.
Now, I haven't seen the application for the states to actually apply for this grant, but wouldn't it make a whole lot of sense to apply and then make the decision of whether or not you actually want to accept the grant? Because I can't imagine that all these states that haven't applied for it have no idea whether or not they should take it at this point. I mean, I have to imagine there's at least somebody in every single state who's on top of this stuff. So here's what makes no sense about not taking the money from this executive order. If you're in either camp, so the one camp would would say that unemployment is going to make people lazy and not return back to work. The other camp is going to say that they need this money to put food on the table. So no matter which side you're on, the unemployment program works within your state. But if you have the ability to get additional funding into your state, why wouldn't you take it? Even if you thought the person was being lazy and they spent the money, there's a high likelihood that they're going to spend it within your state. And everybody knows it's not black and white. There are some people who really do need this money, and there are some people who are staying home and figuring ways not to go back to work because they have the unemployment. But it would seem to me that not taking the money would put your state at a disadvantage if the other states are getting the assistance because it's already there. Now, the setup of it also makes no sense. Why on earth would a state have to apply for a grant to get this additional assistance from the federal government? The only conclusion I can think of is the fact that the grant was the only technical way to set this up in order to provide the unemployment. So even if you think that the rate is too high, it sounds to me like that focus should be put on the program on how to apply for unemployment and what the eligibility requirements are, not the actual amount. To be clear, I'm not arguing the point of whether or not there should be additional unemployment. I'm arguing the fact that if someone is on unemployment and your most destitute people in your state need additional money, and that money is coming from an outside source, wouldn't your state be better off allowing the money to come into the state? And that must be the logic, because some states are moving forward after they thought they weren't going to apply for the program and then going out and applying for it. And my guess is they didn't realize that this program is actually beneficial for their state. And the last argument for it would be, don't accept the unemployment because you want to hold out for something bigger and more permanent later on down the road, which also makes no sense, because if your people in your state need the additional unemployment to make ends meet, you're going to let them suffer while you try and hold out for a better deal? At the end of the day, I'm not shocked that not every state has been approved, but I am shocked that not every state has applied. At the end of the day, I hope the people that are on unemployment and that need the additional assistance are getting the help that they need so they can put food on the table and make ends meet. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of the unemployment program and what we need moving forward. And that is our update for the unemployment and the stimulus package. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.